So your thoughts on the wheel tax passing tonight?
Yeah, it's a huge step forward. 14 colleagues. Chairman Boots wasn't here tonight, but he's a supporter in support of helping moving our city forward and seeing this issue with clear eyes and focus.
We've heard about this since last year. Why did it take so long to get to this point?
Yeah, because we actually have been doing the analysis of getting the data on the number of registrations and all the other things to be able to properly project how much different structures would be able to generate. And then right in the middle of that year, the General Assembly kind of changed the rules on us. So earlier, we're not even 6 months out of, kind of grappling with the change of the rules via Senate Enrolled Act 179. So it's taken some time, right? So by the time we're about to hit liftoff on maybe a plan, change the rules again, and we want to make sure we get this right.
One of the things that came up was affordability. Mm-hmm. That right now people pay like $7-8 for the wheel tax. It goes up to like $100. Say some folks may not be able to afford that. How did that factor into your thought process?
Yeah, so the average resident, or the average surtax registrant right now is paying about $20. So on average, it's going up $80. Every single vehicle currently registered in the county is going to pay more next year, assuming this becomes local ordinance, than it would under current law. But as you heard a lot of discussion tonight, residents are paying for this one way or another. Proposal 192 doesn't address all of our infrastructure problems, but what it does do is it refuses to accept the status quo that we have to live within an insufficient amount of money to address a problem that continues to grow. So I would say constituents that I'm talking to, they're paying for this one way or another, right? And so what we're doing is we are reducing the probability that this is going to be happening in the future, but still lays a kind of a pathway of more work to get done.
Has there been any indication from the mayor's office on whether he would actually go as far as to veto this proposal? That
would be a question for the 25th floor. Yeah. We hope that he chooses to see things our way and signs the proposal. He has 10 days to do it, so we hope he signs it.
Could you find assuming Councilor Boots votes for it, that gives you guys 15 votes. You still need 2 more votes. I think 2 votes are out there to override a mayoral veto?
That's correct, yes.
No, do you think the 2 votes are out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think eventually we'll be able to, if it comes to that, right? The first step is the mayor should sign this proposal, right? He has, based on what he's communicated, there's no reason he shouldn't sign this, right? It's a fleshed out plan. It faces reality. It meets the statutory deadline, so we hope he signs it.
Any reaction to comments saying that, it doesn't have to be new revenue, that it just has to be money that's made up somewhere?
Yeah, if you heard my comments, I emphasized that we can do it in one of a few ways, right? New dedicated revenue, using growth and revenue sources, cutting budgetary resources. Like we can do a combination of those 3. What we're saying is, because of SB 1, because of contractual obligations that we have in the budget, the idea that we're going to be able to use growth to come up with another $50 million next year, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So we then, under that logic, are going to have to cut the budget. Again, some of my colleagues like to refer to this as a $1.7 billion budget, and that's true. But when we're talking about cuts, you got to isolate to the quarter of the budget that you actually move the money around on. So again, when we're cutting from that, we're going to have counselors who are willing to identify which police stations they don't want to build, which firehouses they don't want to build, which parks they don't want to open next year. And those are really tough conversations, right? There's just not all this excess in the budget that's just sitting around, and we just got to turn over a stone and find it. So I encourage my colleagues, right, if we get to that point, to really buckle up and clearly identify which items they are not funding that are part of the basic services and operations of what should be a great city. Yes.
What about the criticism that just people who just can't afford to pay the increase in the wheel tax?
I think we have to explore other options to make sure that folks can pay, right? I would encourage folks to, when they go to the BMV, see exactly what they are paying for. Like, for example, those black license plates that you see, those cost like $45. I would be curious how many residents are aware of that's happening. Every time you get any sort of novelty plate, you're paying more. So I think it's also about looking at what you're paying at the end source, at the BMV, as a good starting fight.
There was also talk that other municipalities may follow Indianapolis' lead and may raise their own wheel tax. Any advice for them?
Do it. You absolutely should do it. Infrastructure is a top issue. No level of government, from local government, townships, all the way up to the federal government, is putting enough of our taxpayer dollars toward infrastructure. We are not. As we are tonight, I heard that Elkhart was considering a wheel tax right now. If we look at the donut counties around us, you have Avon that has a county and a municipal wheel tax. You have Greenwood that has a county and a municipal wheel tax. You look at Hamilton County, where communities like Fishers and Carmel are imposing municipal wheel taxes. This is happening around the state. This is not unique to the consolidated city. Our infrastructure needs are unique because of an outdated and insufficient road funding formula. being able to lock in this $50 million on a permanent basis from the state of Indiana allows us to start chipping away at that in a meaningful way. We cannot continue to use little bumps and little chips to be able to address our infrastructure backlog. We need predictable funding. That's funding in the budget that addresses infrastructure, and that's what our plan does.
And the votes are that override a mayoral, and you do believe the votes are that override a mayoral veto, just to make sure we're clear on that.
Yeah, we wouldn't get into this work if we didn't think that was possible, right? And that's what we're going to continue to do the work ahead. But again, I would ask Mayor Hogsett to think critically about that and sign Proposal 192.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.